welcome to Top 5 Wednesday here at CSD Fantasy. This week, I'm looking at the top 5 fantasy running backs so far this season and how they got there. Starting off, we have Ezekiel Elliott from the Dallas Cowboys. He has scored 110.6 fantasy points so far on 131 carries with 4.12 yards per carry. His one-game floor is 5.5 points and his one-game ceiling is 31.4. His week 8 projection is 22.1 points with 80% risk. His standard deviation so far this season has been 12.9, which helps us determine how their fantasy average fluctuates. The higher the number, the further away from the mean the scoring usually is. Breaking down his running patterns, we see most of the carries coming up the middle. Least of the carries outside the left tight end. Most yards per carry outside the left tight end too. Least yards per carries outside the right tight end. Most touchdowns have come from runs up the middle. Next up is LeVeon Bell from Pittsburgh. He has scored 113.8 fantasy points so far on 169 carries with 405 yards per carry. His one-game floor is 6.9, much higher than Elliott, and a one-game ceiling of 25.6, which is on the other hand much lower than Elliott. His week 8 projection is 15.7 with 36% risk of not reaching the projection. Breaking down his runs, we see most carries between the right guard and the right tackle. Least carries outside the left tight end. Most yards per carry outside the right tight end. Least yards per carry is outside the left tight end, which perfectly match with the amount of carries. Most touchdowns have come from runs up the middle. Leonard Fournette comes in at number 3 from the Jaguars. He has scored 115.2 fantasy points so far on 130 carries with 4.58 yards per carry. He needs to touch the ball 20.7 times on average to score 1 touchdown, much lower than the 2 previous players. His one-game floor is 20.8 points and one-game ceiling 25.6. His standard deviation so far is 6.4, which is again lower than the 2 previous players. Breaking down his running patterns, we see most carries up the middle. Least carries have come outside the right tackle. Most yards per carry is outside the left tackle. Least yards per carry is outside the left tight end. And most touchdowns have come from runs up the middle. At number 2, we have Kareem Hunt from the Kansas City Chiefs, and he has scored 134.2 fantasy points so far on 124 carries with 5.78 yards per carry. He needs only 24.8 touches per touchdown, and his one-game floor is 8.1 with a one-game ceiling of 30.2. Hunt's week 8 projection is 14.6 points with 86% risk of not reaching the projection. Breaking down his running patterns, we see most carries again up the middle. Least carries outside the left tackle. Most yards per carry between the right guard and the right tackle. And least yards per carry is outside the left tackle, perfect match with the amount of carries. Most touchdowns have come from runs up the middle. At number 1, we have Todd Gurley from the Los Angeles Rams. He has scored 136 fantasy points so far on 145 carries with 4.32 yards per carry. He's had a great year and only needs 21.5 touches per touchdown, and his one-game floor is 9.4, which is extremely high. His one-game ceiling is 29.5, which is also crazy high. Breaking down his running patterns, we see most carries again up the middle. Least carries outside the left tackle, and most yards per carry between the left guard and the left tackle. Least yards per carry is between the right guard and the right tackle, and most touchdowns have come from runs up the middle. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more weekly content, and as always, the spreadsheets are dark and full of terror.